it right this time because you actually have to click on individual people to let them in. So
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
let's see.
Welcome to Blame Canada, the stream.
On individual Woo!
Tonight on the show,
to let them in.
we have a couple of articles to go upon.
Woo!
And Jen here is gonna bring us the first one.
All right. Which one am I going to start with? You know what? Let's start with the cancer because it does it in cancer. Like, I'm going to start with this Huffington Post article. Hello.
That's a nice start.
Hello. So, unfortunately, this one is a Huffington Post, but they were the only ones that I searched for that was like clearly giving me the information. Everyone else was just like,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Blame Canada, the stream about the electoral federal election of 2019 and the scrutinies of the moochers and Alberta getting pissed off about the rest of Canada. It's happening. Everything is happening right now.
Oh, it is happening
So,
right now.
Mike, to you, Jen. You have an article that you want to show up today?
Yep, I'm going to read it
out.
out.
The population, show the people.
Oh, yeah. I've got all of that. So I'm going to start with oh, right. I should actually share that, shouldn't I? This whole sharing thing. Getting used to the Streamlabs, just like a professional, you know? Okay, sharing the screen. And we're going to go to my article. So my article is from Huffington Post, and it's written by Carl Duvenvoorden. I hope I said that right. The blog, what Trans-Canada Pipeline will really cost us.
I'm not hearing you right now, by the way. If you're talking, I'm not hearing it.
Okay, well, it's coming out on the stream. All right, I don't know why you wouldn't hear me. I really don't know.
Just tell me when we're going live.
Well, we are live.
It says live for 1 minute and 42 seconds up there. I don't know if it's on YouTube or something.
It is on YouTube. We're currently live on YouTube. I started streaming 2 minutes ago. I mean, it's showing you my page too, right? So. Okay, so. Okay. That one's showing. There. Are you seeing the article now? Magic? Okay, I don't know if you're seeing the article or not, or if you can hear me. The heck? What the hell?
Are you hearing me? I'm not hearing you.
Well, you were muted.
You're muted. Unmute yourself.
I am not muted. You are muted. Yeah, I was never muted. Yeah, I don't know. Have you? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. So. Anyway, so far so good. Are you muted again? Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, I'm just going to read it. Whatever. What the Trans-Canada Pipeline will really cost us. Because Alberta oil is landlocked and therefore traditionally sold below world prices, it's been suggested that bringing it east will lower energy prices for us. It's probably more realistic to expect that Alberta crude oil will get more expensive as soon as a pipeline links it to us and the world market. This guy's an idiot. As the Energy East pipeline dominates over more headlines, editorial ads, and press conferences in my home province of New Brunswick, and this is why he's an idiot, and elsewhere, I'm reminded of an interview given by Calgary Mayor Naheed Nenshi on the CBC radio in the House in February of 2013. Mayor Nenshi said, "We've got a resource that is valuable to us and to our kids and to our grandkids, and we know that someday it's not going to be that valuable. Someday we'll have a low-carbon world, and I think it would be deeply irresponsible for us to leave that resource in the ground so that it will be worthless for future generations." Ponder that statement and you get to the heart of the current lust for pipelines out of Alberta, west, south, west, north, and east. You get the heart of what? Like, these guys are assholes. You get to the heart of why the Energy East pipeline, a project barely completed just a year ago, has quickly received nearly universal adulations and blessings and seems on an ultra-fast track to reality. Before we place our chips on the pipeline, perhaps the costs and benefits are worth closer scrutiny. Economic gains. Almost every assessment of the pipeline stresses the economic gain it will provide to New Brunswick. A recent report by Deloitte and Touche, I feel for you, guy. I don't know why you would name yourself that. Commissioned, interestingly, by TransCanada, the company building the pipeline, suggests our province will earn about 700 million in tax revenues for over 40 years. That sounds like a lot, but in context, it's roughly 20 million per year in a province with an annual budget of about 8,000 million, or about 0.25% of our budget. Not exactly a windfall. Some reports suggest NB would see about 1,550 direct jobs as a result of the pipeline. That sounds tempting too, but over 90% would be temporary, lasting 3 years at most. In context, NB construction industry presently provides 27,000 jobs, or nearly 20 times as many. Finally, because Alberta oil is landlocked and therefore traditionally sold below world prices, it's been suggesting that bringing it east will lower energy prices for us. As rosy as it might be to imagine that world prices will suddenly drop, because he's not understanding what we're doing. He's not understanding. We want the same price as the world prices. You fucking idiot. As rosy as it might be to imagine that world prices will suddenly drop because Alberta crude has arrived in Atlantic Canada, it's probably more realistic to expect that Alberta crude will get more expensive as soon as the pipeline links it to us and the world market. So economic glitter, perhaps, but not necessarily economic gold. These guys are... Okay. Anyway, environmental costs. It's interesting and perhaps telling that the Deloitte and Touche study especially excluded in any assessment of the environmental aspects of the pipeline project. So much of the official conversation that's like ignoring elephants in the room. This guy's done no research. He's done no research. I doubt that this guy's ever talked to anyone from an oil company. You know, he's making up shit because he doesn't actually have anyone to talk to. First, there's the issue of pipeline integrity and the potential for spills. Pipelines have a long and mostly successful history, so it's probably fair to assume that if they were engineered, constructed, maintained, and operated, the risk of ruptures is small. A spill is possible, but it's probably the baby elephant in the room. A jumbo elephant quietly ignored in most of the conversation so far is climate change. No matter what any of us may wish to believe, burning oil produces greenhouse gases, and greenhouse gases are warming our planet and disrupting our weather. The Energy East pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline, the Northern Gateway pipeline, and the hinted Beaufort Sea option are all big, new drinking straws stuck into the bituminous milkshake called the oil sand. This guy's a fucking idiot. Serving it up to an addicted world that needs to break its addiction. Start with yourself, buddy. Get off the internet. The International Energy Agency, a leading global authority, has stated that if we are to put the brakes on climate change, most of our known global fossil fuel reserves must remain untouched in the ground. Kudos to Mayor Nenshi for implicitly acknowledging that. But shame on those who interpret it as a signal to get as much oil to market as quickly as possible, while it's still worth something. Hence the pipeline bonanza in which we are being asked to partake. Our choice Jobs come and go, but climate change is permanent. Years from now, our grandkids will look back on the decision we are facing today. I can't imagine them being very sympathetic or understanding if we choose to trade away their long-term climate stability for our short-term prosperity. But that's the very trade we're contemplating as we consider the Energy East pipeline. Well, I have to break it to you, Mr. Carl, that if your kids are expecting to do well at all, or your grandkids are expecting to do well at all, oh, for fuck's sakes. Goddamn commercials. Eat my dick. As I was saying, Mr. Carl, just so you know, for your children's future generation, if you're exactly expecting to have any kids, you're going to need to be able to feed them with jobs. So it is actually important that you actually help us with working towards making it possible to do that. And no, we aren't going to be raising the prices. The idea is that we can sell our oil for the same price. That's it. It's almost like they don't know that we've written into the legislation for it. Or it's like written into the deal or something like that. Like he's just so fucking off on this article. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave it on that one. How are you feeling, Magic? Is he even?
There you go. I can hear you now.
Well, you took yourself out.
I know, right?
Do you have to take your
technical issues? But yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Was I babbling like a madman for the first minute or so? I apologize for our viewers if there's any. Are we on YouTube or what?
As far as I know, we're on YouTube. I'm just checking that everything's going all right. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's been 11 minutes. All right, I'm going to save this article just because like it did piss me off a lot reading it.
Well, you did bring a lot of good points of what I heard, and it's true that the liberals or the NPDs or the Green don't think about the future. They say that they care about the future, but they want us to live in the green pasture with no job, feeding on fucking bushes. It's not gonna happen. Because if we continue on that road and we get a recession, it's gonna be badly fucked over, and especially for the rest of Canada. Alberta can do just fine if they're separating, but the rest of Canada is gonna be in deep shit, especially because they want to add another 17 billion on the deficit. And adding $17 billion on the deficit, which the interest to pay a loan is $26 billion a year. $26 billion a year is a lot of money. So yeah, that's my main take on it. Those fucking green people annoys the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just trying to make sure I save this properly too. Just because right now apparently nobody's coming. All right, I got it. That's good. So what else should I go to? I mean, I could cover these ones, but I mean it's just the biggest Canadian oil companies. I might save that one. What is this? I don't remember. Oh, the post-millennial. Right! I had this one. This is the letter. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not what I wanted to see. I didn't have a look at it. Do you have the link for it? I may be along with you.
Well, I posted it in Spam Factory in Will's Discord. So if you go up, I mean, I can post it again.
Yeah, post it again. Really less complicated. You have the link right there.
Okay. Let me just copy and paste. I thought I sent it to you, actually. I'm pretty sure I did.
Let's see. I'll check it. I'll check if it's in my private. No, all that you sent me was those green fuck get yank out of the metro.
Oh, okay. I mean, that was worth watching anyway, but
That was really funny.
I'll post this here then. There you go. I
Thank
probably
you.
should get used to sharing in the chat too. I hear that's what you're supposed to do. All right, there it is. All right. So, all right. So, an Albertan's letter to voters in Ontario and Quebec. Okay. Letter to the editor, October 18th, 2019. So that was today. Dear Ontario and Quebec voters, on the eve of our Canadian federal election, I feel it is prudent to share with our fellow Canadians in the East how pivotal this election is for our country. I recognize strong disconnect between the regions and believe I have a responsibility to share our feelings, perceptions, and fears with the men and women of these provinces. It is no secret that the election is decided before the first vote is counted in Manitoba. 199 of the 338 seats in the House of Commons are held by your two provinces. Your votes decide our election. This is why I am appealing to you. The fate of Canada and our incredible province of Alberta rests in your hands. We've had a rough couple of years out here. Since 2015, unemployment has soared. The price of our most valued resource has plummeted, and our access to foreign and domestic markets has been blocked by federal Liberals. While this industry thrives south of the border in the US, Canada's energy sector has been plunged into a legislation recession thanks in part to the cancellation of two crucial pipelines and the poorly handled expansion of a third. These projects are crucial, allowing access to foreign and domestic markets and closing the gap between the price of Canada's oil and the oil produced elsewhere in the world. The newly passed Bill C-69 makes new interprovincial projects nearly impossible to complete, and Bill C-48 restricts domestic tanker traffic on Canada's west coast, while U.S. tanker traffics navigate the same waters unimpeded. We've been put in a box, and the lid is slowly closing. Our federal Liberal government is the architect of this disaster. You may ask why this should matter to you. It is simply a matter of economics. According to the Alberta government, the World and World Bank websites, Alberta's economy accounts for 20% of our nation's GDP. In this province, 4.7 million, it means that 11% of Canada's population produces 20% of our GDP. From 2000 to 2014, we contributed 2,000 billion to the equalization, all of it traveling east on its own. Alberta is the seventh strongest economy on the planet. We're the core of this country's economic engine. We're being told our money is okay, but the oil, our largest economic driver, is not. Hell, we can't even wear our t-shirts on Parliament Hill. Alberta's oil?
You want me to take in for a part?
If you want.
Alberta oil is Canada's oil, and there's a few facts I would like to share with you about it. We are at the forefront of the sector clean energy, and everyone in this country should be proud of this industry in the highest environmental standard in the world. During this election, I'm sure you've heard about ONG subsidies and how everybody intends on stopping them. So I feel it's important to break that down. Last year, there was 1.4 billion given to clean tech by our government. ONG received 75% of that, rightfully so. That money has been used to increase efficiency and reduce the carbon footprint of production significantly, and created technology that has eliminated the need for conscientious
Tailing.
tailing pond. Sorry.
No worries.
A recent study shows that every country around the world produced their resource to the same standards as Canada. The carbon footprint intensely of the production would drop 26% worldwide. So if the rest of the world will be owned by the same standards as Alberta's does, the carbon footprint of the entire world will drop by 26%. Sunco, Canada's largest producer, just announced a cogen project that will reduce their carbon footprint by a further 30%. And we are championing cutting edge carbon capture and storage technology. We would love to displace dirty foreign oil in the East, but we are told that there's no social acceptability for the pipeline. We would love to know why is there social acceptability for Saudi tankers in your water, but none for us. Last I checked, Saudis didn't contribute to equalization, which is true.
They don't.
The environment has been a big topic in this election, and has been strong assertion from the parties, some of which may be a little out of reach. 30% of reduction in GHG. What is
GHG.
Yeah, what is global emission something?
Yeah, global house gases.
Okay, global house gases. Okay. Reduction in GHG. 60% of reduction is in GHG. The backbone of this reduction focus on shutting Alberta's economy down. That seems to be a huge target on Alberta's back. And the little red dot are starting to dance around the bullseyes. Canada contribute to 1.6 of the world total GHG emission. China contribute to 27.2%, the US 40.6, and around 30 to 60% reduction in Canada equates to a 1.8 to 3.6 reduction in China and 3.5 to 7 reduction in the US. Al Gore once says that CO2 knows no border. So rather than just shut down the economic engine of our nation, why shouldn't we export the clean energy and technology to the countries that need it the most, boosting our economy and helping everyone in this planet to reach their target? I can answer that question for that guy. The reason is we already do it in terms of foreign aid, but we don't selling anything. We supply, but we don't sell. So all the foreign aids that's going from to Africa to China to make their energy cleaner is still going out of your pocket. Just so you know. So yeah, would you like to continue?
Sure. So okay, so we're at what we do as Canadians to reduce emissions means nothing on the grand world scale. It is these heavy emitting countries that could benefit from Canada's LNG to replace coal and clean tech to further drive down emissions. It's a win-win for Canada, the environment, and our economy. The Conservatives have proposed this, and it has been highly criticized as not enough. This is the most viable solution, an environment policy for everyone in this country, and it doesn't include plunging the entire country into debt and recession. It is ironic that one country, U.S., that pulled out of the Paris Agreement has made the most progress reaching that agreement's targets. How? By doing exactly what the Conservatives have proposed to help us and other nations achieve. Transitioning coal to significantly cleaner natural gas power generation. There is another sentiment out there that is likely resonates with our fellow Canadians from Quebec. If you asked the average Albertan if they would support separation 2 years ago, you'd be laughed at. Today, it is no laughing matter. At the time of the provincial election, only a few months ago, it was estimated that 50% of Albertans were open to separation. A poll of 6,000 plus Albertans only a week ago yielded the same results. We've been beaten into submission by the federal Liberals, and we continue to get kicked. Terms like Western alienation, Republic of Alberta, and Wexit have become very common. Very common, actually. Like you go on YouTube, on Twitter, and it's all over the place. All too often, you see Liberal on October 21, separatists on October 22nd. This movement is real. I mean real. If another Liberal government is elected, even worse, a Liberal minority with the Green or NDP propping it up, Alberta's energy sector will be just board up the windows and go elsewhere. Quite frank. It will be crippling for the entire nation. It is already crippling for Alberta. We can't take any more of this. We are the victims of a current legislated recession, and it will only get worse. Half of us want to leave now. More will want to leave if we continue to be exploited for our revenue and vilified for our industry. Alberta separation would be a crushing blow to this country and its economy, but it doesn't have to be this way. Albertans are resilient, wholesome, hardworking people that have been happy to help our fellow Canadian citizens maintain a high standard of living. We're only asking for reciprocation. We don't want handouts, tax revenue, or power. We want the right and ability to do what we've been doing all along without having fellow Canadians standing in our way. We're a part of the solution, not the problem. Fellow Canadians, please consider this when casting your ballot. There's a lot at stake for everyone. There's a fragility in this nation that could be fractured with this stroke of a pen, and the power rests firmly in the hands of your provinces. Vote wisely, vote Canadian. Signed, Alberta.
There you go.
This all around covers everything. Everything that I've been telling Will over the last week is in this. I think his numbers are off though. Like if he were to do a poll right now and it was more than 6,000 people, I'm guessing he's closer to 70. I'm sorry,
Yeah. Well, it's no surprise after all you've been through, especially during the last 4 years. That resentment is growing, and I can see it with all the legislation that have been passed to appear more green. So to me, I would say go ahead and if the election turns out to be a liberal landslide or a coalition between the liberals and the NPDs and the Green, I would absolutely support Alberta separating from the rest of Canada.
to be quite frank, I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what, if we do leave,
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh boy. Okay, well I'm back. That's interesting. Um that was really irritating. Magic's left, I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm back. My computer shut down. It was just like I got all these things open, tabs open for my articles and stuff. So this is why I was like, I'm not sure if I can necessarily handle everything on my computer, you know? No, seriously, blame Canada. Oh god, that made me so mad. Uh were you here before I was abruptly kicked by my own computer? Because I don't even know where I am. Oh seriously. Uh I read this article not that long ago on here. It was pretty good. I'll have to share it with you, Della. I think I can. StreamYard's being a oh, there he is! Yay, magic!
There
My
you go.
computer died.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it was not on my end. I was like,
oh
fuck.
no, my whole computer overheated. It was just like no.
Okay.
So I'm gonna share the screen. I don't know if you're gonna have to click on the mute button or not. I don't think so. So maybe don't touch anything yet. But
You want to share a video?
no, I'm sharing my screen.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah,
can I have a link to the YouTube channel to read the comments?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me just
Hello, Della. By the way, I see you. I see you.
yeah, I've told Magic about you a little bit, Della. I was like, here's one of my other options. He's not necessarily like, politics strong, but technically speaking, neither am I, so I'm just a voice with an opinion, you know? Who's just like, Alberta sovereignty! Viva la revolution!
Yeah. Heads
Right?
will go. Heads will roll down. Guillotine time.
Okay. There we go. All right. So I think I should be able to share my screen. I think I'm pretty much just sharing my YouTube at the moment, so that's fun. That one I did. Yeah, this one's the one I last read, Della. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I'll post it in I don't know, I guess Satsu's Discord or something, because I know he's got one for that. But it's the post millennial. I don't know if I cut off halfway through that. I don't remember.
I think we got to the end, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. So I'll post this one for you. So I guess the next one we could look at is like, how screwed is Alberta? So these are our seats. Party standing at dissolution of the 42nd Parliament. Right. So these are our numbers. Yeah. So.
I don't think it's sharing.
Is it not sharing?
No.
Of course it's not sharing. Why would it want to share what I'm sharing? You know, like There we go. That should do it. All right, there we go. Okay, there you go. Oh, I can link it. Never mind. All right.
Put the link in the YouTube chat.
Yep. That's the one. All right, there you go. All right, so all right. Well, you know what? I'll reread it for Della. I gotta find more stuff than what I've got right now. I mean, I do have stuff, but I don't know. The reading of that WikiLeaks was much better by by Will, just because he was tearing it apart like a businessman would. So, on the eve of our so starting. Editor, October 18th, 2019. So this was today. Dear Ontario and Quebec voters, add. On the eve of our Canadian federal election, I feel it is prudent to share with our fellow Canadians in the East how pivotal this election is for our country. I cannot speak. Blah. I recognize a strong disconnect between the regions and believe I have the responsibility to share our feelings, perceptions, and fears with the men and women of these provinces. It is no secret that the election is decided before the first vote is counted in Manitoba. 199 of the 338 seats in the House of Commons are held by your two provinces. Your votes decide our election. Can totally tell who we're talking to. This is why I'm appealing to you. The fate of Canada and our incredible province of Alberta rests in your hands. We've had a rough couple of years out here. Since 2015, unemployment has soared, the price of our most valued resource has plummeted, and our access to foreign and domestic markets has been blocked by federal Liberals. While this industry thrives south of the border in the US, Canada's energy sector has been plunged into a legislative recession, thanks in part to the cancellation of two crucial pipelines and the poorly handled expansion of a third. These projects are crucial, allowing access to foreign and domestic markets and closing the gap between the price of Canada oil and the oil produced elsewhere in the world. The newly passed Bill C-69 makes new interprovincial projects nearly impossible to complete, and Bill C-48 restricts domestic tanker traffic on Canada's west coast. While U.S. tanker traffic navigates the same waters unimpeded, we've been put in a box and the lid is slowly closing. Our federal Liberal government is the architect of this disaster. You may ask why this should matter to you. It's simply a matter of economics. According to the Alberta government and the World Bank websites, Alberta economy accounts for 20% of our nation's GDP. In this province, 4.7 million, it means that 11% of Canada's population produces 20% of our GDP. From 2000 to 2014, we contributed $200 billion to equalization, all of it traveling east on its own. Alberta is the 7th strongest economy on the planet. We're the core of this country's economic engine. We're being told our money is okay, but the oil, our largest economic driver, is not. Hell, we can't even wear our t-shirts on Parliament Hill. Alberta's oil is Canada's oil, and there are a few facts I would like to share with you about it. We are on the forefront of the sector's clean technology, and everyone in this country should be proud of this industry and the highest environmental standards in the world. During this election, I'm sure you've heard about O&G subsidies and how everyone intends on stopping them, so I feel it is important to break that down. Last year, there was $1.4 billion given to clean tech by our government. O&G received 75% of that, rightfully so. That money has been used to increase efficiency and reduce the carbon footprint of the production significantly, and created technology that has eliminated the need for continuous tailing ponds. A recent study showed that if every country around the world produced their resources to the same standard as Canada, the carbon intensity of production would drop 26% worldwide. Suncor, Canada's largest producer, has announced a cogen project that will reduce their carbon footprint by a further 30%. And we've championed cutting-edge carbon capture and storage technology. We would love to displace dirty foreign oil in the East, but we are told there is no social accountability for a pipeline. We would love to know why there is social acceptability for Saudi tankers in your waters, but none for us. Last I checked, Saudi didn't contribute to equalization. In Canada, the environment has been a big topic in this election, and there have been some strong assertions from the parties, some of which may be a little out of reach. 30% reduction in GHG, 60% reduction in GHG. These are greenhouse gases, by the way. Yeah. The backbone of these reductions focuses on shutting Alberta's economy down. There seems to be a huge target on Alberta's back, and little red dots are starting to dance around the bullseye. Canada contributes 1.6% to the world's total GHG emissions. China contributes 27.2%, US 14.6%. 30 to 60 reduction in Canada equates to 1.8 to 3.6 reduction in China and 3.5 reduction in the US. Al Gore once said that CO2 knows no borders. So rather than shut down the economic engine of our nation, why wouldn't we export clean energy and technology to the countries that need it the most, boosting our economy and helping everyone on this planet reach these targets? What would
As I was saying the first time you read it,
Mhm.
that we already do it via foreign aids. We are contributing like to the fold of 6 billion a year to build in Africa and China, build cleaner energy sources. So it's just that we don't collect any profit from it, but we do supply them with new technologies. You may continue, or you want me to read the rest?
No, I can go.
Okay.
Okay. What we do as Canadians to reduce emissions means nothing on the grand world scale. It is these heavy emitting countries that could benefit from Canada's LNG to replace coal and clean tech to further drive down emissions. It's a win-win for Canada. Sorry, win-win-win for Canada, the environment, and our economy. The Conservatives have proposed this, and it has been highly criticized as not enough. It's never enough. This is the most viable solution and environmental policy for everyone in this country. And it doesn't include plunging the entire country into debt and recession. It is ironic that the one country, US, that pulled out of the Paris Agreement has made the most progress reaching that agreement's targets. How? By doing exactly what the Conservatives have proposed to help us and other nations achieve transitioning coal to significantly cleaner natural gas power generation. There's another sentiment out there that likely resonates with our fellow Canadians from Quebec. If you ask the average Albertan if they would support separation 2 years ago, you'd be laughed at. Today, it is no laughing matter. At the time of the provincial election only a few months ago, it was estimated that 50% of Albertans were open to separation. A poll of 6,000 Albertans only a week ago yielded the same results. We've been beaten into submission by the federal Liberals, and we continue to get kicked. Terms like Western alienation, Republic of Alberta, and Wexit have become very common. All too often you see Liberal on October 21st, Separatist on October 22nd. This is the facts. I'm already making plans to head down to my parliament on the 22nd. I don't know about you, Della, but I'm going to join my fellows in protesting. It's the only thing I know to do right now. Like I have to let my I need to let my politicians know in my province that's what we're going to want them to do, or we're going to kick them out. So
yeah, but the thing is, you gotta get the rebels maybe to cover it.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, but the thing is that the coverage as a whole in Canada is not gonna make it happen. If it's not part of the agenda, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna propagate itself. It's really hard to get a grassroots movement going in Canada.
Well, that's why I want to get this all out there. Like I want to get this all out there, not just to the Canadians, but to the Albertans. And it's just like if they're going to turn their cheek to us, we need to turn our cheek back, and that means making preparations for it. So everyone on the street, I'm not saying that you hurt people, don't hit people, don't attack people. You know, if you want to bring out a sign, bring out a sign. But I'm bringing my cell phone and I'm videotaping everything, and I'm going to have conversations with my fellow Albertans, and we're going to let them know what we feel. You know, we're going to let it be known on the world stage what it is that we have to say, because it's enough is enough. This movement is real, by the way. I'm going to continue with the article just to finish it because it's almost done anyway. This movement is real. I mean, real. If another Liberal government is elected, even worse, a Liberal minority with the Green or NDP propping it up, and Alberta's energy sector will just board up the windows and go elsewhere. It will be crippling for the entire nation. It is already crippling for Alberta. We can't take any more of this. We can't. We are the victims of a current legislation recession, and it will only get worse. Half of us want to leave now. More will want to leave if we continue to be exploited for our revenue and vilified for our industry. Alberta separation will be a crushing blow to this country and its economy. But it doesn't have to be this way. Albertans are resilient, wholesome, hardworking people that have been happy to help our fellow Canadian citizens maintain a high standard of living, and we're only asking for reciprocation. We don't want handouts, tax revenue, or power. We want the right and ability to do what we've been doing all along without having fellow Canadians standing in our way. We're a part of the solution, not the problem. Fellow Canadians, please consider this when casting your ballot. There's a lot at stake for everyone. There's a fragility in this nation that could be fractured with the stroke of a pen, and the power rests firmly in the hands of your provinces. Vote wisely, vote Canadian. Signed, Alberta.
There you go. Indeed, I support 100% that movement of separation. Everything that you get it more localized and get the power more into the hand of the surrounding area and not to a couple of far head at the head of the federal level is gonna be good in my book. And I don't mind that it hurts the other province. I don't mind it at all. The other province need a kicks in the nut for not realizing that Alberta is contributing a lot to their economy. And things have to get worse to get better. Yeah, they will. I don't mind it at all. I 100% support that movement of leaving Canada. I would be pissed off if I was an Albertan.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, it's really frustrating and angering. Like I've I went through all the separatist movements, and they're just like, so the first thing you need to do is you need to stop calling yourself Canadian. You need to lose the side of yourself that is in love with Canada, because if we're going to become our own nation, we have to be strong, and that's what we have to do. Um, and that's been the biggest struggle, because I don't know where we're going to go or what's going to happen, but I'm still a pessimist at heart. It's happened so much in our history. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Just don't do like you did before and just sign a worse deal in order to stay in.
Yeah.
Don't get crossed.
Yeah.
That's what we've done in Quebec, and we're still paying the price today.
Yeah, we've really gotta look at who our leaders are. So, I mean, Jason did a good job by making sure that Greta wasn't allowed in Parliament, but he has to start talking to us and telling us what it is that he's planning to do. Because if he's not going to be honest with us, I don't want him in either. I think he's our better leader. Like, between him and Andrew, as our provincial leader, like I'm glad we have him, because he's on our side. You know. At least I know he's on our side because he's fighting. But at the same time, you can be on my side and not be doing what I want you to do. So I really think anyone who's actually interested should really look up some of those sites. They're actually pretty easy to find on Twitter. If you contact me, I don't mind giving you a list. I'm not going to necessarily do it on YouTube just because I don't want people spamming. Yeah. But a lot of them have a lot of good points. Danielle Smith had some good things to say. I'm aware a lot of people in Alberta are still peeved at her for what she did with the Alberta Rose Party. But right now, all we have are the leaders that we have. So we really have to band behind someone who's going to do a good job, get us a good deal, and peace out.
You should absolutely do it. Like I said, I'm another person willing to do it. It's gonna be great for the others too. To not have that equalization, make you realize how well off you've been in the past.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm 100% supporting this, because that's what's gonna end up with. It's gonna go. That money is gonna go towards more diversity. Politic bullshit. We're gonna go towards all the moochers. The moochers are gonna get all the money, and that's something that you don't want. You don't want the moochers to get all the money, and that's what they are doing right now. Hello, Mr. Frederick. But yeah, it's not what you want to do right now. we are too much in debt to begin with to having the moocher economy sustain itself. It's not sustainable. The current plan that is under the liberal is not sustainable at any level. It's not just in Alberta, but as a whole. You cannot prompt up social programs endlessly without repercussion and taxing more and more the fucking small industry. If you stay on that road, you're gonna end up with Amazon and Walmart everywhere and nothing else because they can avoid to pay their taxes. Small pop in shop, mom and pop shop are gonna close out. So
Yeah, it pretty much is, Fred. You're not wrong. Yeah, I might see about bringing Mort on here one of these days to tell that Venezuela story because that was pretty deep. Um,
if we're gonna take like migrant, I would take a huge uptake of Venezuelan.
Venezuelans, yeah. Well, at least they're oil field people, so it's yeah.
Not only that, but at least they know what it is to be under communism.
Go around and tell their stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
But
should.
no, we cannot have that because that would be sensible. It's not like they're in deep shit right now. That would be a sensible policy, but no, we have to take people from everywhere else in the world. People that were moochers where they've been, and there are still moochers coming in. Because there's a huge policy of communism and there's primitive form of communism all around the world and the people and the countries that are not like yet to be modernized. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's another one I want to flee to. Like, I feel like like Justin has brought in so much of it. It takes my breath away.
well, Justin wants to virtue signal at all level, and one thing that he's doing for that is doing the opposite of whatever Trump has come up with, no matter if it's sensical or not. It's doing the opposite. The point of no return to me was the national identity thingy.
Yes.
Yeah, that would piss me even more as a fucking Alberta. You don't even consider my culture relevant? Well, fuck off. I'm gonna start my own country.
Yeah, that's basically where we are right now. It's like they don't want to respect our culture out here either. Like they just think we're a bunch of farmer yokos who care about money, and it's like, yeah, we do because we're trying to pay for everybody. Why wouldn't we care about money? And it's like there's so many things with our sector where you encounter these Greenpeace, these climate changers, these extremists, and you're just like, you realize that you're damaging your own cause by stopping us, right?
They are.
They're start they're
They
making
don't realize that you can be green and want to have a good economy. It's not possible in their fucking brains.
like
It's
I don't
like,
know.
oh
But
no, we have to reduce every fucking car. No more car by 2050s. What a
Yeah.
bunch of fucking losers.
They must really like those long waits for those buses, Magic. Really love them, especially those little rinky-dinky booths that everybody breaks every year. Yeah.
Can you
So
imagine in the fucking Canada winter trying to take the bus to get around? Maybe in the metropolitan area. Just try that like in rural area where the closest like shop is 15 miles away.
there might be a chance where I might do a spoof on our stream where I might use the odd Rebel Media article. By all means, we'll make fun of it. By all means, we'll make fun of it. It's just sometimes they take pictures of things that you wouldn't get from the other guys,
Of course. I
So
don't mind the rebel media at all. That's the only outsiders that we have presently.
it's just the fact they're so fucking trolly. I mean, there's times when they're just so unprofessional, and I'm just like, can you not? Can you not? I mean, I get it. It makes it funny. It gets it spread around a little bit more, but
No, but they have corrected their they've corrected their staff. I mean, Lawrence Southern is not there, and Gavin McInnes is not there anymore. So
Yeah.
that was the lot of the trolley part that was coming out was from those two.
Yeah, and Faith Goldie had some bad stuff with her too.
Yeah,
I mean, at least she's gotten better. I think she's smartened up a little bit, because she certainly lost her job. But yeah, the last article I read from them was based off of today because we had Greta in town. She was in our province and she was in Edmonton. And it was quite amusing to watch our Jason Kenney not let her into our parliament because you shouldn't really do negotiations with a 16-year-old who has quit school and probably doesn't know what she's talking about. I have a phone call. Could you take it for me for a second?
yeah,
Magic?
sure. Well, on the other side of the pond in Montreal, Greta did receive the key of the cities of Montreal because, of course, Montreal is a liberal shithole center of attraction. You get all of that with the large centers of population. They usually tend to be liberals because they are moochers of the surrounding area. You get that also in the United States. You get that from Texas. You get that from everywhere, and the world is the same game that it's playing. The huge center of population try to mooch off the resource of the actually hardworking people, and that's how they don't know how their iPhone are coming into their fucking hand. They try. It's like magic to them. It's like they don't know that. Trudeau, most of the shit that we have is state propaganda media, and if you combine that with the ignorant nature of the metropolitan area, it's a deadly mix. You get ignorant people that can lecture you on nothing that you don't know. So there you go. That's a huge problem because in Canada, the state propaganda media is situated mostly in metropolitan area. So yes,
I
that's
like
a
that
huge
one, Fred.
what?
I like his quote. Feed
Yeah,
a man for free, he'll be back asking for more. Feed a man a bullet, you won't hear from him again.
yeah, that's true. Well, people have been too well off. That's my hypothesis on that. Is that the people that are too well off are trying to judge everybody else for their shortcomings. So,
You're right. I mean, it's an example of that is that train in England where the extreme climate activists were climbing the train and everyone pulls them down. Like,
who goes on a Monday afternoon to interrupt a train? I mean, come on now. You
all
have
of them in
something
their
else to do. I mean, if you're working, those shithead coming out to the train, you know that those people are like subsidized in some ways.
and they're full of shit. And I'm referring back to a program that I don't know if you remember this one, Della Hayes, but paying $10 to plant a tree. That's what our generation did when we were protesting climate change and the environment going to shit. We planted trees. You know what these protesters are doing? They're killing trees and using carbon.
They interrupting traffic. There's just a bunch of shithead.
Even Greta has four diesel trucks to get around Canada. That's how she's getting around. Not to mention all the people that came to Alberta today to protest with her. So they had a huge crowd of them that they trucked in. And they were late by about 45 minutes. And they trucked in a huge number of people. So luckily Albertans came out and they did protest it. There were definitely Albertans with them in the oil field with them. Now the rebel was down there, so I have to go back and look at some of their videos and see what they've seen. But these are not Albertans in that scene. Those are not from our province. I don't doubt that some of them might be ex-NDP, but they aren't from here.
Look, it's obvious what they are doing. In here, the Friday that the protest happened in Montreal, they give public servant like teachers and fucking nurses a day off justified.
Yeah.
A day off justified to protest against the climate change. And you tell me that it's not manufactured from the top down. It's totally manufactured as an issue.
Well, you can tell for us that that's the case too, because like there weren't as many. Like I mean, there were definitely Albertans down there, but there weren't as many of us. You know, it's just a lot of us don't have a job right now, so why not go and protest it, right?
Yeah.
Protest the people that are blocking us. So, yeah, they're bringing in people to do this, guys. So don't buy it.
No, but what happened if you like give public servant like teacher a day off justified? They will bring their entire classroom with them.
They did that last week too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did
They
that
will
last
bring
week
the-
too.
They will bring their entire classroom with them, and therefore the protests look bigger. But try to ask one question about the environment for most of those kids. It's like, I don't know. I got to skip school. You know?
That's basically how it goes. That's what they do. Yeah, they're full of shit. Like I said, if they really cared, they would go out and they would clean streets. They would go to the riversides and they would look for garbage. You know, they would start their recycling programs in their schools and getting their kids used to recycling. You know, finding ways to reduce maybe the items that they use that have oil in them. You know, if they're really concerned about it. But you know, they're not. They're not interested.
It is repackaged Marxism because the end goal is to equalize and remove the profit that every individual has. It's not to benefit society as a whole, it's to tax the shit out of everybody. And it's funny to me that the United Nations is still seen as this as this benefactor of the world that is there to help the world. The United Nations has a rule that you can kill somebody and still have a seat in it. Those people are above the law. Mugabe used to be in the United Nations. Fucking Idi Amin used to be in the United Nations. Pretty sure Saddam Hussein too. So don't give me that bullshit about the moral high ground that is coming from the United Nations. The United Nations is a bunch of criminals, plain and simple.
Agreed. I mean, they haven't really helped when there's actually been need. There's been times where I know they've not done anything.
They're literally above the law.
And I mean, how much money do they take from everybody? Like, they take so much money from the U.S.
They are.
Like, it's highway robbery what they're doing to the U.S. Like, I don't agree with it at all. I think people should have the ability to protect themselves at least a little bit. I understand when it's out of your hands that maybe you ask for help, but you know, everyone doesn't need to rely on the U.S. all the time. That's the problem. That is a huge problem. You know, and honestly, it gives the U.S. a hell of a lot of power too. No offense, Fred. You know, love to you guys, but you know, handing them all that power in the first place kind of seems stupid to me too.
Well, it was the boost of the 90s towards China. For some reason, everybody agreed that, oh, we should make our shit cheaper in China for some reason. And we shouldn't have ramped up that China because now they are like a huge force and they are a communistic dictatorship to begin with. So,
and not a very smart one either, to be quite frank. Like,
now they seize the means of production often. As soon as there's something too successful, they will grab the profit and run with it.
Yeah.
Just like they did with Alibaba. Alibaba was a huge successful company, and the Chinese government just said, well, we're going to seize your asset and just run with it. It's ours now. So.
Well, it's the same with us too. Like it's something that I talked about with you and Will yesterday. About the fact that I'm wondering, like I'm pretty sure that China is part of what's behind this. You know, just based off of like the amount of meetings that he had with Trudeau, the way he treats Trudeau, and the fact that like why wouldn't China want our oil? You know, like China, you would think, would want to do business with us. So, like, to me, I'm just like, are they leaning on him to not do it? Like, it's there's always those questions in your mind where you're just like, so their fingers are in everybody's pie, but where are they actually? You know, because I know they're in our pie. Absolutely.
Well, we might never know if Trudeau is reelected. That's for
We,
sure. There's not gonna be an investigation on what happened.
I'm sorry, Mr. Trudeau, but I'm not a little potato.
Yeah, we understand what's behind the wall. You cannot blind us. So yeah, going on that tangent, is there anything else does that? What's that terror? That eco terrorist group? It's called Extinction something.
Yeah, Extinction Rebellion.
Extinction Rebellion.
Oh.
Did they get a spot on their TV show or something in Alberta?
They
Or
have
in the
been
CBC in general? Did they get a spot in the CBC, Stevie?
yeah, they did actually. They did. They covered the guys in the bridge on the bridge. So I don't have that article up. Let me get rid of one of the ones that I have. Let me see if I can just remember where I had it, because I had a bunch that I saved in my own private Discord. That place where I go to hide articles and shit that I don't want to post everywhere.
Well, I know that they did an appearance on the talk show in the Quebec version of the CBC.
So I could probably cover this one. I don't know that I can play their video, just because it is YouTube. I mean, I might get away with it, but you know, they might kill my channel right away too. So let me share it. And...
Don't take any chance. It's not transformative enough. It's not trans enough.
Oh shit!
You have to change its gender or something.
Okay. Oh. Okay. So this happened in Edmonton. Climate change activists, drivers clash at Waterdale Bridge blockade Monday morning in Edmonton. These stupid fucks. And you guys really need to vote out your mayor like something fierce, because allowing the police to protect them for as long as they did was stupid. They should have escorted them out in chains. Handcuffs. Okay, chains might be a little bit exaggerated. Handcuffs. But they should have been escorted out, and they should have been arrested, and they should have been fined. That's what you do with extremists. I don't... what wasn't that one of Trudeau's comments about not negotiating with terrorists?
Nah, that's a Bush thing. Of course, it's not the Trudeau thing. Trudeau is like, we should not consider honor killing barbaric. That's the Trudeau quote.
Well, it was the fact that he wouldn't pay to get our guys out of the Philippines. I remember that story, that they were held hostage by the Philippine
China too. There's like three or four people that are still holed up in China. It's been months ago. It was to counter the Huawei thingy.
Yeah, so apparently we do comply with terrorists. All right, so anyway, let's get to the articles. So activists with the Extinction Rebellion movement blocked a major route into downtown Edmonton Monday morning as part of a series of international protests demanding a new climate policies. And drivers were not impressed. I don't doubt it. The local chapter of the movement. Why is there a local chapter of the movement? That's the thing that bothers me the most. All right.
Local chapter of the movement? Is this a fucking religion? Of course it is.
Pretty much. That's what they've become. Said it would be using nonviolent direct action to prevent catastrophic climate and ecological breakdown by peacefully blocking the Waterdale Bridge during the Monday commute starting at 7 a.m. That's not what you want to see. I get you, the next time these people take this route, they probably have baseball bats in the back of their trucks and their cars, but that would be me. A handful of people linked arms to block traffic on the bridge, which links the south side of the city with the downtown. Moments after the protesters walked out onto the road, a driver at the front of the blockade got out of their car and confronted the group, saying they needed to let traffic through. He tried edging his car towards the linked protesters, but stopped short of driving through them. Well, yeah. Meanwhile, a motorcyclist just drove around the blockade and continued across the bridge. Another man angrily confronted the group. I got a newborn I gotta feed. Let me get through. I'm parked right there. Let me through, the man shouted, adding he had to go to work. Eventually, police blocked the top of Waterdale Hill, so traffic couldn't go down the bridge and was instead redirected east on Saskatchewan Drive. Drivers stuck at the front of the blockade, being laid on their horns, and some got out of their vehicles, unsuccessfully begging the protesters to let them through. By 7:30, police had arrived at the bridge, where protesters said they would remain until they were arrested. They should have been arrested immediately. You're getting paid. What about the rest of these guys who are trying to get to their jobs? A man ranted to the officers. Premier Jason Kenney criticized the action on Twitter, noted that traffic backup means hundreds of cars were idling for no good reason. This is the Twitter post from Jason Kenney. He said, this AM, protesters are blocking the Waterdale Bridge, delaying commute for hundreds in Edmonton trying to get to work and take kids to school. Somehow, this is all supposed to be in the name of environment, but hundreds of cars are now idling unnecessarily as they wait backed up. Like, they're just so fucking stupid and completely insincere. And I guarantee you, the lot of them left garbage. Because they're garbage people. Around 8 a.m., officers told a bystander that police were negotiating to reopen the bridge, but did not say when that would happen. At the same time, police began rerouting vehicles the up Queen Elizabeth Park Road in order to clear the block clog.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of videos. And then it does continue at the bottom. Extinction Rebellion Edmonton said the action is part of Bridge Out, a series of similar actions taking place across Canada. By engaging in civil disobedience, Extinction Rebellion Canada hopes to pressure elected officials to enact legally binding policies to reduce Canada's carbon emissions to net zero by 2025, an advisory from the group said. Well, they can kiss my ass. That's not going to happen.
No, totally from the top up again. It's not a policy that every fucking politician already is spewing out. Like the fucking Green Party, the NPD, and the fucking Liberals are not doing that already.
Pretty much.
Trudeau march on that fucking Green March with Elizabeth May and Janming Singh. And yeah, what the fuck are they doing? They already have seats in power. It's like, oh, we're gonna totally do this stuff, except we don't.
That's why I'm saying that they're gonna do exactly what they've said. They're gonna do a swing vote, and they're NDP and the Green Party are going to back the Liberals. There's just no ends to it. Like, they are going to do it. Right now, they're just acting as best buddies behind closed doors. And they're presenting you with a face of, oh, we're going to fight for our group. But they already know what their numbers are, guys. They already know.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying, make your plans now. Because, like, we already know. But anyway, this demand aligns with what the world's best climate scientist tells us is needed to prevent runaway global warmings. For the record, global climate change scientists still haven't shared their facts with us. They really haven't shared a lot of their information with our scientists. So, you go to places like Japan where they have a machine that evaluates all the stuff that they're saying is supposed to happen, and that machine is telling them, no, it doesn't. They paid $1 million for this goddamn thing.
They did.
So,
the Michael Mann prediction are never been proven to be accurate to begin with. There was a pursuit in court, and he lost his case to the guy that said that he was claiming that the guy was defaming him for like dubious claim, and he tried to prove this by not showing any data. So Michael Mann can kiss my ass. This guy with his fucking hockey stick, I know better hockey stick than him. Just because of hockey.
Let me just, I actually have his name. His name was Willie Soon. He's a Chinese guy.
Yeah.
But, I really highly recommend that you guys look him up on YouTube. He does have a very good video where he explains his portion of it. So for the record, if you don't know, climate change, their science doesn't include the sun factor and it doesn't include the ocean at all. Like those things don't have anything to do with our climate. You know, he's like, are you taking the temperature at night or are you taking the temperature during the day? These factors, they haven't included any of them.
They don't include either that they post their meteorological instrument in middle of cities instead of the middle of the woods. Of course, in the middle of city surrounded by asphalt is gonna be higher than in the middle of the woods.
Okay, so one of the protesters named George said he understood the driver's frustration. No, you didn't. You still stood there. If you understood, you wouldn't be standing there, you jackass. Frankly, none of us want to be here. Yeah, you do. You're getting paid. Don't lie.
For the greater good.
For the greater good of the Benjamins with the Queen's face on it. But the failure of successive governments for the past 30 years, scientists, industry, NGOs to create any meaningful change has led a group of volunteer activists, to risk being arrested to bring attention to the issue, to start a conversation about the hard choices we face if we're going to get out of this climate mess. Well, to be honest with you, sir, I think you're limiting yourself on what you're going to face, because I get the feeling that you're going to see a lot more people pulling that train thing on you now that we've seen it done. Because now that we've seen it done, people are going to do it. Because if you're not worried about being arrested, I don't think they are either.
Yeah.
By 8:30 a.m., the blockade had been cleared and traffic was flowing once again on the major roadway.
Why the civil disobedience is just one way? If you get to be on the road and be a jackass and blockade the road, well, I would. Why is not my right to remove you from that place, right? You're literally letting people die. The people that could have therapy or some health issues. Somebody could have like a cardiac arrest, and you would just let them die because of your fucking stupid agenda.
One of these days they're going to do that, and I hope to God they're held accountable for it, because as being the reason for the death, they are the murderers.
Yeah.
In a statement afterwards, Edmonton police said all people in Canada have the right to gather peacefully. However, there are limitations on peaceful assembly contained in various sections of the criminal code. The Edmonton Police Service moved first to maintain public order as angry drivers were approaching the protesters. The statement said the police formed a line between the protesters and the drivers, while the duty officer on shift negotiated with the Extinction Rebellion group to conclude the protest, warning police had the power to arrest them. Police said the demonstrators wanted to stay in place until 9 a.m., but eventually agreed to leave shortly after 8 a.m. Could you imagine being late by an hour and having to tell your boss that this is why? Especially in our province right now. If you get fired in our province right now, good luck getting a job. Because you're going to be struggling with that for months before you can get one. Most of our offices downtown are empty because we've had all our business flee because of what the Liberals have done. So this is not a little threat. This is not them going, well, we wanted to do a peaceful, demonstration and we weren't trying to harm people. If you're harming somebody's livelihood, then you are harming them. You are physically harming them.
So the Fred just is in the backstage area. If you want to bring him in, I have to go take a pee.
Sure, I'll bring in Fred. All right. Hi, Fred.
Howdy.
How you doing?
Doing all right.
Oh, I got 6 in the chat. Holy crap. The next 6 minutes, I'm reading an article from climate change retards.
I see.
Yeah. This was in Edmonton. Let me just double check the date because it was pretty recent. They posted this on October the 7th, and it was updated on the 8th. So I'm waiting for our train series, where somebody pulls this kind of crap in Calgary or something, and we just beat the shit out of them for being retarded. Because at this point, why not? If you're not going to arrest these people, then why not?
All in due time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, we might want to wait a little bit until after the elections when we start to. I said earlier that if Trudeau gets in, I'm already heading down to our Parliament building, and I'm going to join my fellow Albertans in protesting, and letting my provincial leader know what it is that we want him to do, because otherwise, we're going to elect someone else. We're just done with it. But where was I? I kind of scrolled back up to check things, and now I'm kind of okay. There we go. Okay, so yeah, there we go. Okay, so the Edmonton Police Service moved first to maintain public order. Yeah, we did that. Okay. While no charges were laid, they were not arrested. So this fear of, I'm sacrificing myself so I can be arrested in the name of the environment is not true. They're not doing that. Someone has got a deal going on there, and I want to look into who that is, because that person has to be voted out. These are our red flags right now. It's just like everywhere we look, there's like a target on our back, and the frustration is just real. While no charges were laid at the scene, Edmonton Police said that the blockade is under investigation and charges could be laid in the future. Police thanked the people who were inconvenienced for their patience, while officers negotiated a peaceful end to the protest. Police Chief Dale McPhee defended how officers responded to the protest, saying police were prepared to act. When asked why there were no arrests made in Edmonton, even though police arrested protesters in other cities, McPhee said those protests went on for a longer period of time. Well, Mr. McPhee, I don't think you should be our police chief for Edmonton anymore. McPhee said charges are still possible, including charges of mischief and dispute social media criticism that police were sympathetic to protesters. It's about trying to avoid further conflict with the protesters. The police were there to uphold the right to protest with the charter. But you need to protect the fact that people need to get to work. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure that we're supposed to sign up for that kind of stuff if you're going to do a protest. Or if you're going to do a protest, you don't do it in the middle of the street. Most of the protests are done lining the streets. On the sidewalk. We actually resolved this in a little over an hour, but at the same time, we weren't prepared to sit and let this happen for a long period of time either. McPhee addressed the options of arresting a peaceful protester. As always, a concern for a police perspective, you're taking that into consideration. It's not so much about the image, it's about what falls from the image, he said. In a tweet word for City Councillor Aaron Paquette said the protesters should think of others. An ineffective way to win people over to your way of thinking, blockades with no warning so people worrying about their jobs, about getting to a health appointment, endanger those in possible emergency situations, he said, adding the protesters should remember the backlash after pro-oil and gas convoy caused traffic gridlock on Anthony Henday Drive back in January. I understand where protesters are coming from. Absolutely. They feel no one is listening and that their issue needs heightened attention. I get it. Yellow vest to environmentalists. The attention garnered is seen as a win. It's not. It just pushes hearts away from the message. Mayor Don Evanson said he respects people's rights to make a point, but is concerned consistent patterns of disruption will erupt public support. It will. I guarantee you, the next time they do this, someone's going to get their ass beat. Similar demonstrations happened earlier on Monday in European cities like Berlin and Amsterdam, as well as in Halifax and the Toronto area in eastern Canada. The scene was more peaceful at the bridge spanning Toronto's Bloor Viaduct, where police officers were on scene monitoring the protest, but said no arrests were expected. And that's it.
They had a demonstration in Montreal too, and got invited to a talk show, and there was a whole lady mentioning like the health emergency cases, and what would you do if it was your own mother? And yeah, I mean, it's combating feelings with feelings, but it threw a dig at that fucking organization. Hi, Fred, by the way. How are
Well,
you?
good for you,
Doing
Del.
well.
I hope you do well. You know, I wish you good luck, because we need, you know, I'm always happy to see someone getting something. Like I do think once we move forward, we will get better. It's going to be a struggle. You're going to want to, make sure that you keep a piggy bank, Della. Make sure that you keep a piggy bank. It's Tim Hortons. That's not bad. I've worked at a Tim Hortons. I've applied for a couple Tim Hortons. I have no job at the moment. I can't be picky.
Oh, I got a question concerning that. Is there a message on the fucking application or right before and on the door that says we employ visible minority women and gay people first or something like that? Because there was some of it in my region.
We've never seen that. I mean, they are. You are going to find a lot of Filipinos working at Tim Hortons, depending on if it's corporate or franchise. And even the franchises bring them in too, but you won't see signs like that there. No. If the person hiring a bunch of foreigners is hiring a bunch of foreigners, chances are good he's just had a lot of bad luck with teenagers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's really nothing personal against the Calgarians. It's just like I like my old boss would go through kids like it was no joke, and I think he probably just got to the point where he was like, well, these people who are coming into our country really want a job, so I'll give it to these people who show up, and
Yeah. That's
so
no offense on them. That's
Yeah.
laudable, actually.
yeah. So
The thing is that they have brainwashed the fucking children so much that they don't believe in getting a job or working for a living. They
yeah,
all
I
want
find
artists or fucking activists or whatever.
like the cringiest people ever. Yeah, no, Tim Hortons is really pretty relaxed up here. Like I can't say the same for Ontario. Like I don't know theirs, and I don't really know BC's, but up here it's really casual. Like you'll go in and you'll probably make a huge group of Filipino friends, and they are a good group of people. So like you're not going to have that from them. What you will have to watch out from the Filipinos is they have internal fighting.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, they have internal fighting because they come from different regions. So sometimes you'll be in a group with a bunch of Filipinos and they're just like, yeah, I can't work with this one because they're from this region. so
Yeah.
so like with them, like they will flee a job if they're working with someone that they don't like because there's a hierarchy in their country, and for some dumb reason they brought it here. And I keep telling them, listen, if they pull that shit on you, you report it. You report it.
Yeah.
We don't want that shit here. If they're coming here, they have to get along with everyone, and that includes you. I also told them that if you're not making the same amount of money as me, then you need to go to the boss and tell him that he needs to pay you properly because I don't accept that either.
Well,
I'm like,
do they have subsidization program to integrate migrants where you're from?
it depends on the store. Some stores will do that. Like some stores will bring them over with the intentions of that they work with the intentions of integrating. And it helps pay for the programs that they use here. So some of them will do that, but most of them get hired here. Most of them will move here and then get hired.
No, but do they get do the employers get subsidization to integrate them? Like
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if the program doesn't do that because they are paying for other things too. Like if they're paying for programs to help them, become Canadian, then they're probably getting subsidies for that. I know some of them do get housing, like for certain areas. Like if say the Tim Hortons is up north, there's a good chance that they're probably paying for people's housing if they're moving people out there to do it. Especially if you're bringing in someone from the Philippines, like they're not going to go up there unless they're getting a deal out of it, And I don't blame them for that because they'd have to do the same for me.
Yeah. Well, usually it's at the cost of the employers up north.
Mhm.
For what I know, is the employers that divorce those extension like housing and benefits. It's not necessarily the government.
Yeah. So for that, I like I said, for the extreme up north, I could see that. I don't see that in a city. I don't see that in a big city.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I've never heard of that in my city.
Okay.
But the thing
Well,
is with the Filipinos is they're kind of clever like a lot of Asians in that they'll bank together. Like I mean, you might have an apartment with 5 people who aren't related to each other at all, and they do that for like a couple of years, save their money, and then bring their immediate family over. Um, which is probably my only biggest complaint with them is because they seem to think that their immediate family is like the 50 other uncles and aunts and people that they're probably not really related to that they bring over with them. But
well,
like
yeah.
not all of them do that. A lot of them are against that kind of stuff because they're like, yeah, fuck that shit.
Well, look, I have no problem if it's on your own, like on your own money.
Yeah,
But
I'm the same
don't,
too.
yeah. If you want to bring the entire the entire family tree up here, you have probably to and plant the seed on your own.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have any problem with that either. I mean, that's what my family did when we came here. So, I mean, that was a long time ago, mind you, but
Anyway, Fred, what's your opinion so far?
Well,
Frederick, yeah.
at the very least, regarding the Tim Hortons thing. I mean, we don't have that here in Kentucky, so if they're given preferential treatment, like I don't know, can they just do that? Just openly discriminate like that? I mean, I would assume so. Then
no.
It's work a lot differently in Canada. You got hate speech laws. I know that you can get investigated by the police if you said something racist, and you're probably gonna pass on TV. That's how boring our news is. So
Hmm.
yeah, you can be investigated for a comment. Can you have that in the America? Let's say somebody say go back where you came from, and do they begin an investigation on you for that?
as far as I'm aware, now.
So yeah, that's the shit that happened in Canada. So preferential treatment, I think, is a thing in
Oh,
Canada for sure.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely there. Like there's definitely cases where like you can tell that they're just blowing things out of proportion or making it up.
I saw a case actually of a robber cutting himself on the window of the property of someone, and he actioned the people that he robbed and actually won his case. He actioned the people that he was robbing, and he actually won his case.
Well, did you hear about the case that happened in the United States with the female cop that shot the black guy in his own apartment
I've
because she
been
thought it was his apartment?
Yeah, I've been skipping that one because there's like a lot of outrage on it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because at one point she was claiming castle doctrine, which I support castle doctrine itself, but it was just kind of odd, the argument. It's like, oh, this I thought this was my apartment, so I shot the guy while he was sitting like on the couch eating ice cream. It's like, okay,
Oh boy.
whatever. And it's awkward because it was just so weird. So you'll get kind of amusing cases like that, which is it's a tragedy because the guy's dead, but you know that tends to happen I think more over here than say in Canada or like Britain where if you
It's
try
the
and defend yourself they'll punish you.
Yeah, it's the total opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get you. It's probably happened in somewhere in Florida, right?
I don't remember where it was. I thought it was like New York or something. I could look that up, but
Well,
Okay.
I'm sure there's someone in the chat. I mean, do you remember Della or a six? Because I know Ranting Monkey and Satsu and Scribe have like covered it, and Sinatra did too. But I can't remember the city.
because I saw that story and I was like, it was just so absurd. But I don't know. Of course, there was also that one instance a little while back too where this chick holed up in her apartment and you tried to use her infant as a human shield against the cops.
Oh yeah, I remember that, Jake.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
That was really fucked up. And she was shooting at the cop too,
Oh
right?
yeah, she had a shotgun. She was shooting at them with the infant as a human shield.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that one. The video from it.
Yeah, I can't say I'm sad she's dead.
No.
Well, this case that she cannot run away from. She's probably was using it for a welfare check anyway.
Yeah, probably. I think she's like a single mother or something.
Six was saying that it happened in Dallas.
Hmm?
The next 6 minutes said he thought it happened in Dallas.
Oh, damned fine. Oh, it's been a while since I saw that story. It very well could have.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Sorry, my energy just went blah.
So, as an American, which outcome do you wish upon from Canada? Do you still want to have Trudeau in just so you can fuck with us more and have everything that you want?
In all honesty, I would rather you get your conservative government so you can just, work everything else nice and easy, not have any chaos on our northern border. That's the last thing we need.
Yeah.
Not have to deal with a potential proxy war with the European Union. I'd rather not have that.
Yeah.
Like if it ever came to World War III status where we need to get troops to Alaska immediately, like we would need unconditional access, probably road and rail up to Alaska. So I don't know why your government would ever say no, but if they did, it probably wouldn't end well.
At this point, Fred, with where my province is, we're going to be negotiating with you guys a lot, because at this point, from my understanding, everyone wants Alberta to be free, just period. Not even going to you guys yet. We just want to be free.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I honestly, I get that, because I think it would be good for us to have our own section of the world for a little bit, and then we get our.
Well, it's like with Texas. You got to prove you can run yourself before we'll ever consider it. And as it is,
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable adding any more states anytime soon anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's best to let you all do your own thing.
And I agree with that 100%. Like, I think for us, it'll be a good idea for us to run our own stuff. And to be honest, if that's the case, then the last thing we want to do is insult you guys, because there's a good chance we're going to have to find a way to negotiate a way to get our oil to the sea. At least until we know for sure what other provinces might come with us. We don't know that. Like, for now, I'm just banking on Alberta. I do think Saskatchewan will come with us, absolutely, but until I see it, I don't want to include them yet. But for us to do that, we're going to have to negotiate with you guys. So the last thing we're going to do is piss you off.
Yeah.
So
regardless of that, the easy access would come to British Columbia, I imagine, to go to Alaska.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like British Columbia, just because of its location between Alaska and the continental 48, is of a strategic importance, let's say. If you want to put pressure on the government in Ontario, as the western states, I honestly think you should consider trying to increase your ties with Quebec to try and form a two-front coalition, so to speak, to surround Ontario. You should prey on Quebec's nationalism and pride, and use that to undermine the Canadian government.
Well, yeah, that's the problem, though. It's we living in our own fucking bubble. The percentage of people that both speak French and English in Quebec is 17%.
Mm.
So they're still living in their own bubble. I'm surrounded by zombies, basically.
see, the one thing I'm kind of banking on is the fact that if Alberta goes, the next election that comes up, Quebec will go.
Of course they will.
Because we're the ones giving them the most money out of the rest of the provinces. Like, Ontario has no loyalties to anybody but themselves. Flat out. They always say it. And I respect that now. I do respect that a lot more now. I mean, I still mock you for it, but the understanding of why you're like that is more clear. But Trudeau doesn't have Ontario in his pocket. Or Quebec in his pocket. Not at all.
Well, if you're looking at it, this looks like more and more NPD and Liberal seats are gonna go Bloc Québécois for some fucking reason. And that's just a prediction. It could change. Like I said, there's a huge digit that is working in favor of, compared to the other election, is the participation voting, the turnout, how the turnout are gonna go. Because the last one was pretty bad. I think it was 63% of the population. So if we can get that to 17 or 80%, 80% would be good. And all the workers that not you usually don't bother voting are gonna go vote. So let's see what happened on Monday.
That's just it. It's just waiting. Well, the good news is I have my meeting set up with my dad tomorrow. So tonight I'll have to pick Will's brains for like questions that I should ask my dad. Because he said for all the politics that he could go through with me, you know, honestly, one little breakfast with him is probably not going to cover it all. But at least I'll have a place to start. So actually, while we're here, I might as well just get my pencil and a pad of paper and just ask you guys if you have any questions that I should ask him, because he's been in Alberta for his whole life, and he is the 7th generation Albertan in my country. And I actually am saying a lot that I shouldn't be saying, but I actually do have relatives that are related to the Lohies. So
what is his basic stance right now?
He's for separation.
Okay.
He's for separation. He's like, he'd rather work out our problems, obviously. Like, you know, he's worked with all of Canada. You know, he's done business trips before. You know, he was kind of a little bit of a figure in his own way. You know, when he was consulting, you know, he's done interviews before. So like, he knows the oil field very well. I would love to bring him on. Like, if I could just convince him that social media wasn't gonna, you know, eat him alive. And I promised him, like, you know, just don't use your picture. Take a picture of, like, I don't know, a statue or something. I don't know.
But you don't even have to bring him on to like a public thing. You can just bring him into like a little private Discord chat if you want to have Will talk to him.
Yeah, I think he would like that. You know, it would just I would probably have to get my brother to help him set it up. Just because like he doesn't necessarily do all this stuff, and at least show him how to delete it afterwards, because that's what he's gonna do. But yeah, he's someone I'm really looking forward to talking to, because historically speaking, I don't doubt he's got information that I've never looked at before. You know, and flat out, I want to know what to do, because you know, I told you, Fred, like the last 2 months, I kind of hardcored on the documentaries. And a lot of the documentaries I watched were based off of, you know, times in the past when there was a huge flow of people in and out of a certain area. A lot of it was due to like disease. So, I mean, I'm not talking like that's the case here. But I'm just saying, with the, you know, everything, doors are closing and doors are opening. So I just want everybody to have a chance to look for those doors, you know, that are opening. If this is what's going to happen, or at least get people thinking about it, because as far as I know, as far as we know until Monday, it doesn't look good.
It doesn't though, but that's a prediction. Like I said, predictions are not accurate. It's been
Like
proven in the last election in the U.S.
Like a dream come true would be for everyone to go out and vote for Maxime Bernier. Honestly, that would be a dream come true. But I don't think that's going to happen. Not in Ontario, and I don't see that in Quebec. And
well, it's still to see, because we are usually racist here. So the guy from Quebec, and there's chance that he's winning, no matter what has been proven in the past. No matter if it's a conservative or whatnot, if the guy is coming from here, yeah, we're gonna vote for him for some fucking reason. So, now I won't hold my breath, but it will be a nice surprise to have a couple of seats for Maxime Bernier in here. and a huge swap of the conservative while you're at it.
Yeah. See you later. The next 6 minutes. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. If you have any tips for me, let me know. Hey, as a noob.
Well, I could shill the shit out of that. I haven't got like a lot of server, but it's which one I share it with that I'm worried about.
That's that's the thing with me. Like I've got at least 4 that I can shill on for Discords, but like a lot of them are different time zones. So like we'll get maybe the odd Brit in here once in a while, but it's a matter of catching them at the right time. And I'm in Satsu's, and I'm in I Rate Bears chat. So I mean I share them stuff there, and then there's 2 others that I know. But the other thing too is like Scribe's been shilling for me for like the past week, pretty hard. And he does that on Lords of the Night. So at least 200 people a night know that I'm setting this up.
Okay.
And he shared it with Sinatra because I was having so many issues with finding a liberal. So Sinatra's been, made aware of it too. So I've got a couple people that I can go to for help if I need assistance with that kind of thing. Or even if I were to like, say ask if we could come on as like a guest or something. It's just with that right now, everyone is focused on the US election for their streams. Canada is still one of those things where like it's not really that important.
Well, it's not. Compared to the US, it's not.
Right. So they're just kind of like, yeah, you guys have problems. But like the reason I want to let some of the Americans know what's going on is because, like I said, like there's a good chance we're going to catch on fire.
It's the last fucking thing we need is you all on fire.
Right. So that's why I want to let you know. Like I just like it's just one of those things. Like that's what we do. We don't tell people that we're having problems. We hide it so much, and then all of a sudden it blows up, and then it's like, oh shit, what's going on up with the crazy Canadians? Did they lose a hockey match or something?
I'll say, because I never heard about any of this until a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know about any of this.
Like I said before, I will reiterate that I 100% support Alberta separating from Canada. Maybe it's my just cynical. Maybe it's gonna go full accelerationist for the rest of Canada if Alberta is removing itself, and I'm be okay with that.
At this point, me too. I appreciate it though. I do appreciate it though, Magic. Like it's like I've been saying like to a lot of people, like we don't blame the rest of Canada for this. We blame the guys in charge, and we blame the stupid people who are just going along with it. You
can't blame the rest of Canada. It's their fault for not for being a fucking sheep.
Yeah. But no, it's just we have to take our own best interests into account, and we're not making those. We're not meeting that. And we're dealing with a bunch of crazy kooks who don't want to listen. So.
Yeah. Story of my life. So yeah, is that good enough for a first episode, or do you want to go into some other topics?
Like for right now, I think it's pretty good. I think we did a pretty good job. I might use one of my. I'm thinking about bringing 2 of those articles with me when I start with Scribe. Like,
yeah, the letter one was pretty good actually. The letter to Ontario and Quebec voters. I think that's a good one.
I think it'll reach more ears, because it's really from the heart. Like what that guy said was what's been going in through my head for the last like week, and like I'm not pulling an AOC here by saying that I've been crying for days, but like honest to God, I wake up in the morning and I read stuff and I just start crying because it's just my family's backstabbing me. My extended weird family is backstabbing me, and I'm losing my crazy weird.
Are they voting NPDs or something?
No, not my family. I mean Canada.
Oh, okay.
Like it's that nationalist part of me that's like, I've always viewed everybody as like a weird extended family. Like obviously we're not related by DNA or something, but we're all in the same boat. And we're being booted
Well,
off.
apparently not.
I know, right?
Over and over again.
I know, right?
Like having an alcoholic brother that comes at Christmas to beg you for money or something.
I'm bringing out the weeb in me, and I'm blaming Hitalia for this one. But I always kind of viewed.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? Have you watched that shit?
I know of it. I haven't really watched it per se, but I know of it because I stumbled upon it one day. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But I get the general meme behind most of the countries because I looked it up on like its wiki or whatever because I just couldn't stop reading because it's like a train wreck.
It's one of those things where, like, if they had gone with the concept, it was a good concept. Honestly, I thought it was an amazing concept. But the fact is, they made everybody male except for 4 characters, and all the women who got involved on that anime made everybody gay. So every story in there has this context of like, oh, I was invading your nether regions.
Oh boy. I'm
But-
glad I didn't watch it.
Oh
I don't
god.
know what you're talking about, but I'm glad I didn't watch it.
No, the part I liked was some of the fans actually did some parts for like the U.S. and Canada because we're all states and provinces. So they made every state and every province their own character and just basically used it as a way to explain like what the U.S. is actually like and what the Canada is actually like. And for some reason, they portrayed Quebec as like this kind of weird French uncle
Yeah.
who's really pissed off all the time.
Well, we're still seen as like the bear wearing with the baguette on their arm for some reason. So it's fair game. I don't mind it.
I refer back to South Park.
Yeah.
I am French. We cannot go without our wine and our cheese. We need our wine with our cheese.
Exactly.
That is one thing I do want to kick Trudeau in the balls for. And I know this is partly to do with Quebec and this gestapo of cheese people, but as a deli clerk, I really wanted to kick them both, all of them in the balls because I like cheese. And some of the monasteries that you guys have like really authentic, really good ass cheese.
Well, we do. Well, we tried that, and then we got good ass maple syrup too, but it's not enough. It's not enough. If we could like decentralize the hydroelectric, that would be a good start.
Yeah.
Privatize it. But anyway, that's getting into another area.
I know.
I think there are a few monasteries actually in my state. Of all, there's a because I'm in a history of Christianity class right now, and the professor's well traveled and well learned, let's say. And apparently there's a Benedictine monastery somewhere not too far from where I live, maybe a few hours away, I think. Apparently they make good chocolate or something. So I was surprised that there were actual Catholic monasteries in Kentucky of all places. More you know.
Yeah.
They do a good job too. Like I find their focus is very centralized. So, you know, when they focus on one item, they do a really good job. It's the same with like the monks in England and wines and stuff. Like or not England, I think that's France.
Don't ask me. I don't know. The ties that I have to French are minimum. I've
Yeah.
been to Vegas before I'd go to Paris.
Yeah, I was in France. I went to Paris. Honestly, the thing I wanted to see the most, they focused on the least amount because it just was time consuming. But I really just wanted to go see the catacombs because I'm a morbid person.
There
Well,
it
the
is.
Notre Dame is not foreseeable now.
Abbey of Our Lady of Gethsemane. It's located in Trappist, Kentucky. Yeah, that's it. There's I think there's a website for it. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, at this point, the last place I would go is France right now. Like, they've got so many problems.
Just go to Vegas. They have a
Mhm.
little France there.
I know, right? Nah, the person I'm admiring right now is my mom because she's in Austria, and I was just like, well, at least you picked the one country that's not being entirely flooded.
Yeah.
And she's visiting cousins and stuff, and I'm actually really glad that she's over there because now she's having a chance to have a conversation with them on what's happening over there. So it'll be interesting to see what she says when she comes back. Considering Austria's definitely been put on the shit list too.
Austria is a mixed bag from what I hear.
Yeah.
I think it's managed to avoid most of the migrant crisis, but it's still got some problems.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone really escaped that, except for
Well-
Poland.
If you were west of the former Iron Curtain, you got hit by it because I think it was Hungary and Serbia, and I think maybe some of those other states actually closed their borders down, so they had to go around and up to Germany and France and whatnot. Because a lot of the Eastern European states didn't actually have to deal with it because they told them to leave. The
Which is-
migrant trains, that is.
Yeah, that was smart of them. That was smart of them.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I say frequently. When the countries that have a history of memory of being invaded are saying no to you, that means there's probably an invasion of some sort. Just because like they know what they're doing. Like it's not like they don't remember what their past is like.
Well, it's not just like stuff from recent memory of like the communists or even the Nazis. Something people tend to forget was that they just don't know. I was surprised by this myself, kind of. When Yugoslavia fell apart and there was tension between like the Serbians and the Bosnians were Muslim. A lot of that goes back to like the 1300s when the Ottoman Empire conquered Serbia. And that's how the Muslims got there. So like that event like 600, 700 years in the past,
Yeah.
was a rallying cry to them when Yugoslavia fell apart. Like that was stuck in their memory that far into the future. So like they don't forget.
No, they don't. That's a lot of the reasons I've been so passionate about European history is like, because I know that the guys behind it's almost like they're telling you what they're doing. You know, when you really kind of look and compare, a lot of it seems very similar to me. Like, I mean, obviously it's current day versions of it, but
Well, technology aside, I mean, human beings are fairly consistent. You know, just obviously you can't just use history as a guidebook to tell you what you can and can't do because there are always new situations, new technologies, new circumstances.
Variables.
Yeah,
Yeah.
new variables. But you can look to the past to see what might work, what might not, what you do know will not work, what you do know will work under certain circumstances, of course. But you know, you can use it as a suggestion, not as a guide. My advice. But I mean, in some ways, humans are just fairly predictable. You know, if there is an easy, peaceful solution, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably just assume everything goes to hell, and then you know, on the bathed in blood on the bodies of the defeated, history is written. Yada yada. I'm fairly pessimistic about what will happen in the future, just in general.
yeah.
I think people tend to learn.
I don't either. I mean, like I like what 3 years ago I went through the whole series of South Park up to the point where it cut off after the Trump's election,
Mm.
and it's just even in that short period of time, the cycle is still there. Like even in that little short period, we're still going in the same circle. Um, and like you look even further back, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, like yes, some of the ideas have been changed, but yeah, I just want to say no to the people who want me to live in a little dirt hut on like reeds to go fuck themselves. You know. I'm not constructing my house out of dirt and poo either. That's a no. Because we do know that's how it was done. Just saying. I mean, maybe a little bit more was added to that, but
When you're a mechanic, you can just make an igloo or something.
I
Whatever.
know. We used to have sod huts too, so still a dirt hut.
We have log cabins down here.
Just skin some raccoon and go full fur trapper or something.
I shouldn't say this on YouTube, but I'm going to anyway. But I joked about that with some of my the guys that I watch who are conservative black men get a lot of shit for being coons. And I told them every time you say coon, I'm picturing a coon hat. You know what you need to do? You need to get yourself a coon hat, and then you need to stitch "Make America Great" on it, and then you need to wear that everywhere.
that would be weird.
Weird, but fucking amazing, right? Own it, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends.
Mhm.
The normies usually don't sway with if you run with it. So I don't know.
It probably wouldn't happen. I just thought, I mean, I could see a couple of the more trolly guys doing it. So,
Yeah.
so, all right. So, how do you feel about how things went? Like, I think we did okay. Like, I might need to find more articles than that, but I'm sure my dad can help hook me up with stuff that I can do, or use. And
Well, like I said, I'm downloading a shit ton of videos right now. I don't have a lot of Elizabeth May stuff, but I probably can find something crazy.
well, there was that dinner party that she had after like the 2016 elections, where she,
She was drunk, yeah.
yeah, and she was like, "Oh, what's his face? I can't remember his last name. Is a more decent person than everybody else in this room and Canadians entirely." I'm like, yeah, a terrorist who murdered people is totally better than everybody in Canada, really, including the Muslims who didn't,
That's
right?
a mind-boggling issue. How the fuck does that guy keep his Canadian citizenship by going in fucking I don't know where did he go, Pakistan,
I think so.
to fight with the terrorist group? How the fuck does that not revoke your citizenship?
You would think it would.
You would think.
Holy
And then them giving him 10 million Canadian dollars.
shit! Nah. It's included in my videos. I got that one army guy that questioned Trudeau. Remember him?
Yeah, I actually do. Yeah.
Yeah. What? That guy was a national hero. He had balls.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna put that in the video. I got a shit ton of stuff, so that would be my mostly an intro. But like I said, if we can gather more people and get each their local position on our or what's at stake in their part of the country, that would be great. We just have to have some more people in there. From I know that what's her name? Della is from BC.
Oh no, Della's from Alberta. Sora Luna's from BC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Della Hayes is from Edmonton.
Okay, sorry about that,
No worries.
Della. But yeah, if we can gather more people, it would be great. And just make a prediction and see what we're seeing as stake and issues and who's gonna be voting for who. It could be a great show by itself, even without article. We can push our own like prediction compared to what's already projected, by some site like 338canada.com. So yeah, it could be a good show.
I think so.
Well, we went on like environmentalism this time. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of really important topics. Like I'm gonna pretty much redo this with Scribe, just because like it sounded good too. But I'm gonna try and find at least 2 more articles for him as well. So I might even give you those. Actually, even if you wanted to bring up some articles, that would be good too. Like
Well, I don't know. Scribe wanted you to have a one-on-one with him, right?
yeah, I'm gonna start with a one-on-one with him, and then we're gonna I can bring you guys in afterwards. Is what I'm gonna do. Because
Okay.
if he decides that he's done and he's wanting to go, like I'm gonna like because it's gonna be on his channel for that part. So afterwards, I'm gonna still host us. Is what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure if he wants me to trickle you guys in for that one or if he wasn't very clear on that one. So I'm gonna probably talk to him tomorrow after my breakfast with my dad, and then that way I know like before we even start the stream, we'll do that. It's just anything that you're gonna bring to the table, as long as it's not like a video or something that he can't show. Like you can talk about the video, like you can say what's happening in the video, but I'm not sure. Like he
No,
might have
I'm
to.
not. I'm not gonna use that.
Yeah.
Even if I would use OBS on my hand.
Yeah. Yeah, just because it's one of those things where like he has to know what's in it before he can do that. Just because it's YouTube.
I totally get it.
Yeah. So from his end, like yeah, that's what I'm trying to like do with him and make sure that
No,
I'm.
yeah. There's I'm not a dumbass. I know how YouTube works.
Yep.
So yeah, if he wants to bring us on, great. If he's not, we're still going to do our own stuff. So it's also great.
Yeah, he just wants to support me because like literally when I talked to him, I was trying my best not to cry because I literally had like a little emotional breakdown before. And I started telling him about what was going on. I kind of reiterated my conversation with my dad, some of the conversations I'd had with Will, and then a lot of the articles and the conversations I've had with people online. So he's taking it seriously. It's just there's not anything he can do other than give me a platform to talk. So,
Yeah.
and that's all I want. That's all I really want, I just want to make sure I'm not crying on the stream because
just give us a shout out at the end. That would be great.
yeah, absolutely. Because I want us to have a chance to do this because at the very least it'll help the community, because we don't have this. We don't have an outlet right now.
Well, like I said, it was not on air, but the only contradicting media to the state propaganda is the rebel, and they're not allowed anywhere.
Yeah.
So we have to have more voice, descending voice against that huge corporate shill that Trudeau give more and more money to brainwash ourselves.
Yeah, it's all of them. Like every single news article, like they are leaning it towards vilifying, and they'll be reading like it's pro Alberta, like they'll give us the facts that we want to hear, and then you follow through on it, and it's a lot of hidden slander, like
Exactly.
and I'm just like, no, I'm gonna call you out on it. That is hidden slander, and I'm not for it anymore.
The
So-
CBC is hugely culpable in this.
Yeah.
And they are the one that receive most of the funding too. So yeah, we need a more outlet.
Yeah, we do.
And to speak about issues and to speak frankly to one another. I mean, I don't consider myself like a fucking moocher, but I know there's a lot of moochers surrounding me in Quebec. So I'm happy to have opinions similar to mine. It's not every day that I'm not alone in this fucking zombie land.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's been a reassuring thing too. Like, The hard part.
If we don't speak, nobody can hear us. If we don't speak, nobody can be moved by our talk. So yeah, I might even do some stream in French just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Not to. I'll probably find some. I don't know, French speakers in Manitoba or whatever are pretty are not a lot outspoken, but it would be great to have a French section on my show.
Yeah, it was
Like
actually.
doing the same fucking show translated.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. I support that because it's the thing with Manitoba. I had no idea where they were leaning at all. Like, I mean, I knew they were more conservative, but in terms of their opinion, they really don't say a lot. Like
Exactly.
they're more the guy to just like watch everybody else and then show support to the guy that is most aligning with them, which I support. Yeah, I get that.
Well, that's the shitty thing too. We're not gonna get our Trump moment. If Maxime Bernier was winning with the landslide, that would be awesome. But I'm pretty sure it's not gonna happen.
I am. Yeah, me too.
Canadians are too cautious and too polite. If you got somebody that says, I'm gonna do nothing but balance the budget, fuck your social program, we don't have the money right now. That's not very popular, you know?
Yeah.
Ironically enough, if you had I think, like our system is, it's like it forces out useless parties. So you'll generally only have two that actually matter.
Yeah.
So reform candidates are more able to actually get up to the front, as opposed to just being stuck on some proportional representation of a few seats here can be ignored. So, with the way your system is set up, the Conservative Party would have to like implode before Maxime would even get anywhere.
Exactly. But well, if the conservative are elected and do nothing as a minority leader, it's gonna be hard for them to recover. Especially if they try to meddle with the others, Liberal Party, like the NDP and the Liberal Party, obviously. If they try to like meddle and make consensus with them, pretty sure the Albertans would be pissed off too. And I'm pissed off regardless because other than Bernier, nobody wants to reduce immigration, which is the hot button issue over here. So
That's one for us too. That's one for us too. It's not even
uh,
that, it's more that we see all the stuff that's going on for you guys, and we've got a little bit of it too, but we know it's condensed there.
yeah,
So
well, it's a major issue. Even a provincial one, the provincial guy got elected because he wanted to lower immigration. That's the only, and it's still in court. The Bill 21 thingy for the not wearing religious symbols is still in court with the federal level. Don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I like it.
yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot. It's created more divide for the liberals. I love it because the feminists are going after the religious wearing people. It's all messed up. I love it.
I should really send you, if I can find it again, I might send it to you because one of the NDP leader Jagmeet Singh's things that he's pushing on Canada is about the Sikhs being our greatest ally during World War I and II. And in those pictures that he's sharing, they're all in British uniforms. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, yeah, you guys fought with us, but you know who else fought with us? Australia and New Zealand and, the US finally came in too. So you're not the only ones. And we've asked all of them not to do that. So why are you the only ones who are special?
Because we were running for prime minister. And that's why we're so special.
I don't even know how important the Sikhs were in the war contribution, let alone the contribution of India, because at the time the Sikhs were a part of British Raj, which was what all the little bitty Indian countries were part of at the time. So I mean, I mean, sure, they were part of the Imperial conscripted army during both World Wars, but I mean, so what? So was everyone else.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
he's stretching it, is what he's doing.
As far as I'm aware, he is. But of course, I haven't looked into it. I don't know how integral they were, or if the Sikhs just so happened to be on the same fronts more often than not that the Canadians were on. I mean, there may be something to it, but I mean, knowing these politician types is probably pulling it out of his ass.
That's what it
Probably.
that's what it looks like to me. Because the minute I saw those pictures, I'm like, dude, you're wearing a British outfit. Not even, well, not him, but his ancestors. And I'm like, they're wearing a British uniform. How do you not know what a Canadian and British uniform look like? Like we had
Like something to know about the Sikhs too is, I'm fairly certain that they were brought into the empire not so peacefully. So, I don't resist them. I don't blame them for resisting the British for or literally invading them. But it's not like a great many of them were happy about being pressed into service for Britain. Some were because they wanted to make do with what they had. But I mean, they were eventually gobbled up. Yeah, Anglo-Sikh Wars, 1849, smashed by the East India Company, and then they just kind of did their own thing because they were a part of the British Empire.
So anyway, I think we'll cover it all.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Everybody
did.
who's listening should have a good night
Mhm.
and take cares and see you tomorrow.
All right, guys, have a good night. You too, Fred. Say good night.
Good night.
All right, and Barrowcast.